Imagine standing on the eastern coast of Taiwan, somewhere between 3,000 and 1,500 years before the Common Era. Behind you is everything you've ever known. Ahead is an ocean, covering roughly a third of the planet's surface, and somewhere inside it are islands you have no proof exist. You'll have no map and no instrument capable of finding them. And if your read on the sky is wrong by even a few degrees, there's nothing out here to correct it. Just more water in every direction. You get into the canoe anyway. You move south first, into the Philippines, then out across the thousands of islands of Indonesia, where the route ahead splits in two directions. One way leads west, eventually as far as Madagascar, on the far side of an entire ocean. You go east, into the Pacific, and this is the harder half of what's ahead of you. By around 1200 BC, you reach the edge of Melanesia, near the Solomon Islands. The voyages by this point aren't short. Your canoe carries only as much fresh water and food as can be rationed carefully across however many days the crossing takes, which means every leg of this trip includes the real possibility of running out before land appears. Wherever you stop long enough to settle, you leave behind a specific, recognizable style of pottery, the kind future archaeologists will call Lapita war, scattered across island after island like a trail you never meant to leave. By around 900 BC, you reach Fiji, Tonga, and Samoa, the first true Polynesian islands. And here you stop, not for a season. You stay on these islands for somewhere between 1,500 and 1,700 years, long enough that the pottery style you carried with you disappears entirely, replaced by something else, then something else again. Long enough that the very idea of sailing further starts to feel like someone else's plan. Whatever it is that finally moves you again, after a stretch of time longer than the gap between now and the fall of the Roman Empire, you eventually push your canoe back into the water. Around 700 AD, you go further than you ever have. Beyond Tonga and Fiji, the gaps between islands stretch for thousands of kilometers, with no guarantee that anything lies in the direction you've chosen. If your read on the sky is wrong here, there's no current to carry you back, and there's no one behind you who knows which direction to look. Your canoe is a wā kaulua, two full hulls lashed together, powered by sail. You didn't build it alone, took a whole community, because a single bad joint or poorly chosen tree could end this before it started, and there's no replacing a hull once you're 3 weeks into open ocean. Your navigation runs entirely on memory. By day, trade wind swells rock the canoe in a specific learned rhythm, and you read direction from that motion the way you'd recognize a familiar road with your eyes closed. Except getting it wrong here doesn't mean a wrong turn. It means days lost in a direction you can't afford to lose. By night, you rely on what's now called a star compass, not an object, just a map you've memorized of exactly where specific stars rise and set across the year, with your own position held at the center of it. There are nights you want to sleep and don't, because the one job that can't pause is watching the sky. When the stars aren't enough, you read clouds. Under the right light, the lagoon of an atoll reflects faintly onto the underside of the clouds sitting above it, and tall cloud banks gather over islands with real elevation long before you can see the island itself. Closer to land, certain seabirds fly a known, limited range out to sea before turning back, so spotting one means land has to be within roughly that distance. None of it is guaranteed. All of it is the only thing standing between you and water in every direction with no end to it. This is how you reach Tahiti around 700 AD. From here, you go 3 more times, each one harder than the last, north to Hawaii by approximately 900 AD, east to Easter Island by approximately 1000 AD, the single most isolated point any voyage like yours has ever reached, where missing it by even a small margin means there is nothing else out there to find, and south to New Zealand by approximately 1200 AD, into colder water and harsher seas than anything you've faced so far, the last major landmass on the planet to ever have someone standing on it. Long after you've moved on from Easter Island, the people who settle there will carry something unusual in their blood, small traces of indigenous South American ancestry dated to contact roughly 800 years before Columbus ever crossed the Atlantic. Whatever happened there, it happened after you. And it happened because the place you found was real enough for someone else to keep finding too. Centuries later, the methods you used nearly disappear completely. In 1976, a reconstructed canoe called Hokulea sails from Hawaii to Tahiti using nothing but what you knew. The swells, the stars, the clouds, the birds. It works the same way it worked for you, across 4,000 years and roughly 40 million square kilometers of ocean. You started on a coastline in Taiwan with no proof anything lay ahead of you. By the time you stop, every habitable island across a third of the planet has felt your weight on its shore, and there is, finally, nowhere left to go.